welcome back to Airing It Out, your favorite HVAC and plumbing podcast. I'm your host, Robert Maderick, and today we have a very special guest. We have our longest employed plumber, mediocre basketball player, father extraordinaire, water quality specialist, and one of my closest friends, Mike Scavetta. Welcome on the show, Mike.
Hey, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So we've had Mike on a couple of these, but we haven't had a long-form podcast with him yet, and one of Mike's favorite things in the entire world, and he's our in-house water quality specialist. That's what he does best. He helped me choose out my system in my house. I kind of wanted to talk about this, Mike, because we just crossed into the new year. We're like in the second week of the new year at the time of recording this, and a lot of people start getting on health kicks. One of the things that they do is that they start drinking water, and since you're a water quality specialist, I kind of wanted to start talking about it. And when I first bought my own house, like everyone was like, don't drink that water. And I was like, why not drink that water? So kind of the big question is why water quality? Why is that such a big thing?
Well, here in southern West Coast, specifically here in Vegas, anywhere that's fed by the Colorado, we have, specifically in Vegas here, let's talk about our market, right? We have the second worst water in the nation.
Okay.
And not only in hardness, but in contaminants. And then also we're a reclamation state. And what that means for homeowners here is we sanitize water with chlorine in a reclamation plant. And we have 4 times the nation's average of chlorine in our water. Yeah. And that's why you're calling me way more often than you should be.
Okay. And so why is chlorine bad?
Chlorine's going to rot absolutely everything. It is unbiased. It will eat through brass, rubber, plastics, everything your plumbing's made of.
Yeah, pretty much, right? I was like, plastics. I was like, what's that? Oh, pieces in my toilet, pieces in my faucets. Like rubber. I'm like, oh, all those O-rings.
Every little thing.
Every little thing. Touches. Okay, now, because that was one of the things that was really important to me is I remember you guys were talking about chlorine and chloramines inside of our water, and someone told me, and you can tell me if this is true or not, is that we're like right at the legal limit for chlorine contamination within our water, like right knocking at that door, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And obviously we know what chlorine does. If you ever been swimming, you know what it does to your eyes, your hair, you kind of feel gross after you get out. And that's why if you've ever turned on your sink and immediately get hit with that smell, it's like, oh, it smells like a swimming pool. That's all the chlorine they use. Now, why do they put the chlorine in the water?
It's to kill out bacteria and
so our water's gross, so we make it clean with chlorine.
Well, I mean, if you've seen the news with Lake Mead depleting a little bit, it's down there.
Yeah, not good.
Not good. So it's the reclamation state. So everything going back down, we recycle and try to reuse. We are the #1 drought state in the nation, so we're trying to conserve as much as possible.
We are a desert.
Yes.
So now that we know kind of like why water quality, when you start looking at water quality products, now me being an HVAC guy, it's the same thing like air quality. You start looking and you have like all these different filtration. You start hearing terms thrown around, and it can be very overwhelming. And then there's articles saying this is good, this is bad, but another one says this one's bad, or this one's good and this one's bad, and it's contradicting. And so it's kind of hard to, as a consumer, to kind of like make your way through that and feel like you made the right choice. So there's a couple different options, and like one of the most popular ones that we hear on this is water softening. So can you kind of talk like what is water softening?
So obviously we have hard water, and it's the calcium and manganese in our water that makes it so hard.
Okay.
So if you're ever washing dishes and you see the spotting on your glass, white crusties on the aerators of your faucets, you can even get down to the fading of your clothes. It's all calcium and manganese. So softening, you have to it's done with salt or potassium because you have to use ion exchange to remove those calcium and manganese molecules from the water and replace it with sodium or potassium to actually truly soften the water.
Okay.
And that's where you're going to get the opinions, and obviously the internet is a crazy place.
Yeah.
And so many people are doing saltless softeners.
Okay.
Now, somewhere the water's not as hard, that would do great. But we are in the 15 grains of hardness to 25 range.
Yeah.
Which is way off the extreme spectrum.
Which just means our water's really hard. You need a really good softener to make it soft.
Yeah, you definitely need something more than your run-of-the-mill.
Softening is going to take care of all the hard minerals in your water. It's going to help you with not really clouding like your dishes. For all those car people out there, you get those hard water spots on your car. It's going to help with that. Yeah, it happens on my car in the middle of summer. I can't drive fast enough, and kills me. your clothes, and that's going to take care of that. So
big thing is hair, skin, and nails is what you're gonna immediately feel.
Okay.
Less soap, shampoo, conditioner.
Okay.
My beard's nice and soft.
Cool.
We work with our hands. I don't want to use lotion.
Okay.
And I don't have to.
Okay. So that really helps you with that. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
So okay, I know my wife appreciated that now when I chose my system, but then on the other end, you hear about filtration, or you hear about filtration other than softening. So now, what's the difference between softening and filtration, and why would you go with filtration?
So filtration is actually more important, and there's such a stereotype of a have a water softener.
Okay.
Now, so your water is soft, but it's still contaminated and dirty.
Okay.
And we kind of hit on the chlorine, and that's our main function of filtration there, is to fully remove chlorine. Now, there is also tons of other stuff: iron, sulfur, jet fuel, arsenic in Vegas water here.
Okay.
So we're trying to tackle that as well. So you're not ingesting that stuff. And most people kind of don't, they just think water, drinking water. Well, the biggest organ on your body is your skin, and you're absorbing all of that every time you shower.
Okay.
So it is very, not only with your plumbing problems, but with health issues as well.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I know it was one of those things that tons of people say, like when they end up getting one of these products, that they have like chronic skin issues that tend to go away. And they're like, I didn't get them until I moved to Vegas. But then once I had a filtration. And so we have getting rid of the hard minerals. We got getting rid of all the like gross chemical contaminants, right? And the system that I ultimately ended up choosing was a combination of those two.
Oh, yeah.
But we can kind of even take that to the next step, and I believe there's a UV option that's available now,
yeah,
right?
So you have the HTO.
Yes.
That is our hardness, taste, and odor system there, and that's a filtration twin tank. It's a filtration and softener.
Okay.
Now, we do have the ultimate HTO now.
Okay.
When you have a low immune system, people going through chemo, unfortunately, you still have, when you pull out the chlorine, now the bacteria, mold, mildew, and microorganisms that do live in the water are kind of free to run rampant.
Okay.
Now, if you're running your water all the time, it's not that big of a deal. Or if you're young and our immune system is good, not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But the UV is kind of the top notch on top of filtration and softening. So that's all your hospitals and hotels, you're sleeping in the same beds, using the same sheets. That's how they sanitize things.
Yeah, we use UV on the AC side, and we use it to kill like viruses and bacteria. It was really, really popular for not only immune deficient people, but like people who had kids, because people would always get sick, and then or their kids would come home sick, and then everyone in the house gets sick. And I was like, you guys kind of want to stop that? I have a product that kind of is responsible for killing it, and UV was so strong that it was proven to kill. We had a bunch of products that were proven to kill COVID. Yeah. And so obviously it was a really popular item about 2 years ago. But it's super cool that they offer it in water, because they have proven that a lot of these viruses can live within water and be transported that way.
Well, a big thing is, if you live here in Vegas, the state flowers, the road cone, they're constantly cracking roads open. And every time they open up a water supply, contamination is inevitable. Yeah. So that's kind of where the UV comes in.
Okay, that's cool. That's awesome if you completely wanted to protect it. Now, last but not least is the one that I am probably the most ignorant on when it comes to this product. Is you hear it, RO, reverse osmosis. There's tons of different filter options. I remember I thought about it when I first bought my house, and I was like, and I remember looking at all the filter options and stuff like that and all the different configurations, and I was like, let's just go with the HTO, Mike. And I kind of froze. So can you kind of speak on like, if you had like an HTO or something comparable in the UV, like what would be the place for the RO? What's that for? What does that do?
So an RO is a drinking water system. Okay. It's going to provide you purified water. Okay. Now, with our HTO, it is cleaning the water. Now it's providing you spring water, because you should be ingesting some amount of minerals, which is natural in everything. Yeah.
It's like the difference between like spring water and distilled water. Like they say like distilled water is actually going to strip your body of nutrients. Okay.
So some people just prefer that bland, purified, tasteless water. So what I like to compare it to is, I have filtration on my house, but no reverse osmosis. I like the spring water, and I can drink anything around my home because I'm filtering it at the source. Okay. Now, it is kind of homeowner preference if they like that purified, bland water. And then we can always do a reverse osmosis system on top of that, or vice versa.
Yeah, and doesn't RO also give you like super clear ice?
Yeah, clean ice. We can feed the fridge, and that's a huge thing. I mean, we do these maintenance checkups, and one thing I like to check is do you drink from the fridge? And then just, if you're watching this, go take a look at that spout coming from your fridge.
It's gross.
It's gross.
Yeah. Mine's always gross now. I got rid of my fridge, and I have one of the ones that have like the pour bottle inside of it now, so I don't have to look at that spout. But that's only for optics. I mean, my HDO does a great job. Like, we got rid of a lot of the spots in the showers. Like,
Good.
I have that hose bib right off of it, so when I'm washing my car, definitely not in my driveway. But whenever I'm washing my car, I don't have to worry about those hard water spots building up, if at all, or at least as quick. But the RO is definitely something, because I've also heard it's good to cook with, because I don't want everything absorbing into my food, because it will.
Yeah, I mean, with the softener, you're going to have a slight sodium content to the water. Obviously, our product is very minimum to none. Yeah. But a lot of people have these store-bought softeners.
Okay.
So bad to where I'll fill up a sink and I can't see the drain, and you're living in seawater.
Okay. Now, given any of these products, and this is personal preference, Mike, given one of them to choose, which one are you putting in your house?
I have the HGO.
Okay.
I love the HGO.
I have the HGO as well. Yep.
Hands down.
Mine's been great. I've been really, really happy with it. Zero complaints. I have had water conditioning systems before that I've torn out before, and I'm just like, this ain't doing nothing. And the HGO is a really good product. Really happy that we offer that now.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, so guys, Mike, like I said, is one of our water quality specialists, as you guys can tell. If you guys do have any questions for him at all, feel free to put them in the comments, or give us a call and get Mike out to your house, and he can give you guys an estimate or see what's best for your house. We do water quality tests to test how much chlorine and chloramines are in the water, and then also how much hardness is in the water, and he can make recommendations based on what he's seeing. But anyways, Mike, the name of this podcast is Airing It Out. Do you know why we call it Airing It Out?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the podcast.
Okay, cool. Awesome. That's awesome. Cool. Awesome. Well, then you know what question is coming next. The name Airing It Out, is a pun on, it's air conditioning, but it's also airing out the bathroom. So what is your preferred way to air it out?
I've been waiting for this question. I have 3 kids.
Okay.
And so this may be unpopular opinion.
Okay.
But I like to kind of razz my kids.
Okay.
And they don't give me any space, so I don't air it out.
Ooh, wow.
I let them just right to the face, man.
Just and then that's your sanctuary for like the next however many minutes it lingers.
That's bad.
Okay, cool. Okay. Awesome. Well, Mike does not air it out, guys. Anyways, thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the podcast. We'll see you guys next week.